What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on the latest news of the green and gold Green Bay Packers. A happy Monday to all of you watching out there. Unfortunately, still lots to talk about that absolute collapse of an effort on Saturday night, with the Packers blowing that 18-point lead to lose to the Chicago Bears 31-27. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Feel free to subscribe, leave a like, turn on the notification bell so you know when these videos go live. And if you're a returner, I welcome you back as always. And a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. I want to start this one off talking about the quarterback of the Packers, Jordan Love, and a question for you guys, so feel free to leave your answer in the comments down below. Where does your confidence sit with Jordan Love on a meter from 0 being no confidence at all and 10 being all the confidence in the world? Where does it sit for you personally with Jordan Love? Me personally, I got it around that 8.5 range. Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in this game, but still, unfortunately, it resulting in a loss. But with those 4 touchdowns and no interceptions and a playoff loss, I thought that is pretty odd, and I found this interesting stat. Per StatMuse, they posted this on X saying QBs with 4-0 touchdown to interception ratio in a postseason loss. There's just 3 of them: Alex Smith, Josh Allen, and now Jordan Love. So it really shows the type of game that Love had. You should not, it should not result in a loss. Unfortunately, Love joins an unfortunate group of Alex Smith and Josh Allen on having a 4 touchdown to no interception game in the postseason and walking away with an L. You look at Jordan Love's final stat line in this game, he was 24 of 46 with 323 passing yards and those 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Also curious where you rank that game overall for Love. I give it that B+ A- range. I think the only thing I could have asked for more was maybe higher on the completion percentage. But again, I mean, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 300 yards. That should be plenty to get you a win in the playoffs, especially when the quarterback on the other side threw 2 interceptions. I like the blame on Love, if there's any blame on Love for this game. Me personally, I don't put any blame on him. Maybe you can say the last drive could have been executed better, but you also had a beautiful pass from Love on that drive that Jaden Reed absolutely dropped. That would have made that last drive easier and not have to have this heave of a play with no time remaining where the snap was bobbled. So lots of ifs, ands, and buts in this game. Unfortunately, it's a 31-27 loss nonetheless. I give Jordan Love, I'll go a B+ A- right in between that range. I'll lean more to the A-. Again, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 300 yards. That should win you a football game, especially Jordan Love hadn't played in, 2.5 games, I guess you can call it. His last game, getting hurt against the Bears, so he missed half of that in that regular season game against the Bears, then missed the game against the Ravens, then didn't play against the Vikings, and then had to face the Bears again. So for what he went through with that concussion protocol and everything, to go out and ball out like that, I'm putting my confidence meter in Love at 8.5, and my grade for him on the game, I'm going to give him an A-. You look at his total numbers versus the NFC North this season, which is something else to highlight. How does he perform against division opponents? We knew last season that was a whole different story, but this season really took a step up. I'm not listing that one game against Chicago where he got hurt. He was 8 of 13 with 77 yards, but for average purposes, I'm taking the 5 games that he truly played from start to finish. In those 5 games, which includes this game in the playoffs against the Bears, Jordan Love was 89 for 144, which is good enough for a 61.8% completion, with 1,118 passing yards, which averages out to 223.6 per game, and 13 touchdowns to just 1 interception. I mean, that is pretty good. Again, maybe the completion percentage, you could ask for a little bit better on that. But again, 13 touchdowns to 1 interception. And again, you can throw that 6th game in, that game against the Bears where he got hurt. I mean, he had no touchdowns, no interceptions in that one, 8 of 13, 77 yards. So in my opinion, Jordan Love, I have full confidence in him. He's the guy getting the big bucks. And you look at other, quarterbacks in the playoffs, people say, maybe Love's not playoff ready. He has had great games and he has had bad games. But you look at a guy like Justin Herbert, I mean, there's multiple scenarios that could be worse than how Jordan Love has performed in the playoffs. And in my personal opinion, he gave it all that he could and had a beautiful game. Definitely the second best game he's had in the playoffs, because it's definitely hard to beat that one that he had against the Dallas Cowboys. But looking at those playoff games for Love, he has had 4 of them. 3 of them were against a 2 seed, and 1 of them was against a 1 seed. Again, all of these games are on the road. Jordan Love, 4 playoff games, they're all on the road. He's been the 7 seed in all of them. So it's not like he's playing, an opponent pretty close. I mean, you are the 7 seed playing the 2, and then if you win that game, you play the 1 seed, which is what Love did when he faced the San Francisco 49ers. You look at his playoff numbers, 81 of 134, which is a 60.4 completion percentage for 1,101 yards, so it's about 250 per game, with 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I view Jordan Love in the playoffs as 2 really good games and 2 not so great games. His 2 really good games, this one against the Bears and his very first one against the Dallas Cowboys, where he had almost a perfect game. I think he was 16 to 21. Maybe if he was 16 to 20, I think he had a perfect QBR or something like that, but he had one incompletion that knocked it down from a perfect 158.3. But nonetheless, a very, very impressive game in that dominant win against the Cowboys. The next round against the 49ers, throws an interception on that last drive. That knocks him down a little bit. That game against the Eagles last season, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks in that. That one was horrid, respectfully, but I think everyone was horrid in that game. But then he had a huge bounce back against the Chicago Bears. But nonetheless, despite, in my opinion, 2 great games and 2 not so great games, he got just 1 win out of those. But that's going to move us on to the coaching situation for the Green Bay Packers, specifically Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur met with Ed Policy on the plane ride back from this game. Lots of questions, about LaFleur's future and is he even going to be with the Packers at time of recording. This is uploading at 10 a.m. Central Time, so something could definitely happen. This is being recorded a couple hours before that. Something could definitely happen while I'm recording. So if something breaks and it's not in this video, you will know before me at this time and place. But as of now, Matt LaFleur is still the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. But per Rob Demovsky on X, he posted this on Sunday saying, Packers coach Matt LaFleur said he and the team president Ed Policy spoke briefly on the flight home last night. He said he expects them to talk again either later tonight, again this being posted on Sunday, or tomorrow. Right now, LaFleur said in quotes, my sole focus is on our players and our team. So again, still question marks in the air, LaFleur's status, not a true clear answer on it, but he is already meeting with Ed Policy, which I think you know what that kind of leads to. Again, everyone can have their opinions on Matt LaFleur. I was definitely a big defender, but after a game like this, it kind of just feels like it is time for him to go. But nonetheless, that's going to take us into our sponsor for this video. A huge shout out once again to Underdog Fantasy. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the gridiron action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at this Monday Night Football game we got between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans. Aaron Rodgers. If you're a Packers fan, I'm curious, are you rooting for Rodgers to go all the way? Me personally, I'd love to see him do it. Obviously, the Steelers, despite being a 4 seed, I think they have some of the lowest odds to make it out of the AFC since the Chargers are now eliminated. But I would love to see Rodgers go on a dominant run. Could be pretty fun. But I got Aaron Rodgers for higher than 204.5 passing yards, as well as CJ Stroud for higher than his 228.5 passing yards. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FootballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first 5. That's promo code FootballFan. Underdog, make picks, win money. Again, I'm rooting for Rodgers. I think it would be really fun. So I'm picking higher than his passing yards. And CJ Stroud, I think, will be able to match him pretty well. I'm picking higher on his as well. But again, this game's in Pittsburgh. It's going to be cold. Who knows what the conditions will be. But this is what we talked about with the Packers and Bears. And then Jordan Love and Caleb Williams each threw for 300 plus yards. These playoffs have been absolutely nuts. Tons of close games. So you truly never know. That's going to take me into the third point of this video, though, looking at, Jordan Love, a great passing game. Who was on the other end receiving those? Romeo Doubs. And the big question, did Doubs play his last game as a Packer? Romeo Doubs, that rookie contract is officially up. He is a free agent this offseason, and he definitely put a great season together for a lot of teams to look his way. His final stats against the Bears, Doubs had 8 catches, which led the Packers, for 124 yards, which led the Packers, as well as a touchdown. Doubs was definitely the MVP in that receiving room on the game. Had also even an amazing one-handed catch on that right sideline for about a 30-something yard completion. He was really doing it all. He even jumped on that fumble where Christian Watson tried to hurdle the defender for the touchdown, fumbled the football forward. Romeo Doubs was the one landing on it. So even if he wasn't catching a pass, he was still landing on the ball. Unfortunately, he did not land on the ball when they played the Bears, their last matchup in the regular season on that onside kick, but he definitely redeemed himself in the playoffs, landing on that one, setting the Packers up to score. So again, Romeo Doubs, what a journey for him. I mean, 4th-round pick out of Nevada. He, was expected to be pretty solid, but I would believe based on where he got picked and where my expectations were for him, he definitely exceeded them. You look at his numbers this regular season, he played in 16 games. Don't get me wrong, this Packers receiving core was very hurt. You got guys like Christian Watson and Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed who didn't play in as many games as 16. Watson played in 10, Kraft played in 8, Reed played in 7. So Dobbs, obviously an easier chance to lead the Packers in these categories, but still nonetheless got to show credit where credit is due. Dobbs led Green Bay this regular season with 55 receptions, which was 19 more than the next closest player, which was actually Josh Jacobs. He led the Packers with 724 receiving yards, led the Packers in 20-plus yard receiving plays with 12 of those, led the Packers in receiving first downs with 41. The next closest was Christian Watson at 28, and he tied Christian Watson and Tucker Kraft with 6 touchdowns. So Romeo Doubs definitely had a season to get that contract. That playoff game definitely, it turned some front office's eyes his way. And I think he could get a pretty solid contract. And will Green Bay pick that up? Will they offer him? Who knows? Green Bay extended Christian Watson 1 extra year, so he's already locked down for next season, but nothing, in the cards for Romeo Doubs. Not really sure the type of contract he could get, maybe a 3-year contract. Not really sure what the money is, where his value will stand. Definitely will be more to look in on that, a little bit later. But for now, Romeo Doubs is unfortunately not a Green Bay Packer after this game. He is a free agent. I would love if Green Bay would bring him back. If they signed him before the season to an extension, kind of like the Packers did with Watson, which was an interesting situation because Christian Watson was hurt and wasn't even on the field when they extended him, but, that made him a cheaper option. The Packers, again, did not do that with Romeo Doubs, and now, his price tag is higher, especially after 8 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown in a playoff game. So could he have played his last game as a Packer? I think the answer could be yes. I really hope that I am wrong in saying that, but Romeo Doubs has had a very solid 4 years with Green Bay, and it is likely that a lot of teams will be going after him, and he could be moving on elsewhere. Again, I hope I'm wrong about that. But if Romeo Doubs moves on, who is going to be a guy to step up and fill his shoes? You got to turn it to Matthew Golden, who gave us a glimpse of his future at the wide receiver position for the Green Bay Packers. Finally, Golden gets involved, and super involved, I should say. He wasn't just on the field, he was making some big plays. Did it take Dontavian Wicks, Bo Melton, and Savion Williams to all be hurt for him to get those opportunities? Seemed like it, because it seemed like he, there wasn't many expectations for him to get big involvement in the playoffs, and that clearly was not the case. Matthew Golden, with definitely his best game of the entire season. You can scratch any of those games in the regular season. This one against the Bears was his best game he had all season long. His final stats in this game against the Bears, he had 4 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown, which was his first ever NFL touchdown. Definitely a big moment for him. That's what took that 27-16 lead that, again, unfortunately was blown, resulting in the loss. He also had that big catch on that last drive, which also did not result in anything, but Golden had that 4th and 7 reception near the left sideline, a very nice ball by Jordan Love and a very nice catch by Matthew Golden. So the glimpses between Love and Golden is very, very, very nice to see. And if Golden can become a true threat alongside Christian Watson, who's also a true threat, they can, make one get distracted and get the other open, could mix some fun plays in there. Both of these guys are very fast and are both deep threats. But it was really, really, really nice to see in a game that has so many negatives that there was a glimpse of positivity in Matthew Golden finally getting involved. A negative thing in that, though, is why did it take this long for him to get involved? I know he was hurt a little bit, but my gosh, it would have been nice to have that on the field for a couple of weeks in the regular season. Maybe they could have won a couple more games and not ended their season on a 4-game losing streak. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that Golden got that involvement, got that playoff experience, did not have any bad plays in that game that I can at least recall. There was nothing of his game that was negative to talk about. But that's all I got for today's episode of Packers Latest. I appreciate you guys tuning in all season long. And though, unfortunately, it is the off season for the Green Bay Packers, there will be lots and lots and lots to talk about the future of this team heading in to the 2026 to 2027 season. But as always, go Pack, go.